Let's talk about one of the key strategic arms of your business. It's called, in most people's business, customer service. And why do I say this is a strategic arm of your company? Because I believe strongly that customer service equals marketing. Personally, I believe that every department in the company is part of the marketing force. But if you want to make an argument about, other than the marketing department, which department is the single most important one to do marketing for you? It's your customer service department. So let me tell you a tale of two instances. Number one, I was working with a company. There was a deadline. There was a certain amount of money that had to be used on a gift card by a certain date. I went in, placed the order. It didn't pick up that gift card. And I was within 5 hours of the deadline, and went to customer service and said, "Hey, your system's not working." Went back and forth, 5 hours of probably almost 24 conversations with a dozen different customer service people. And every one of them says, "We're working on it. We'll get it solved for you." And the deadline, midnight, went past, and I wasn't able to place the order. And now I just spent the last week going back and forth with them saying, "Well, your gift card expired. You can't use it." And it's like, but it wasn't my fault. It didn't work. It was your fault. And your team that spent 5 hours not being able to solve it. And I finally had to write an email to the CEO, the head of customer service, the head of marketing, like 6 or 8 people, and say, "Listen, this is what's happening. This is not one person somewhere. This is a dozen different customer service people, every one of them who could have solved this with a single press of a button, and not a single one of them did." What's just happened here is this just revealed what your true customer values are. Your true corporate values aren't serving your customers. It's protecting your product line. Remember, it's a gift card, so they've already put that in their profit. And if they can deny me the ability to use that, they get to keep all that gift card. They don't have to pay out the cost to service that. But they chose, because their customer service department isn't designed to serve the customers. They really hurt their opinion, in my opinion. Other side of this. And I'm not painting myself as an amazing thing, but I remember one point I had a store that was selling a bunch of things, and in it I had a public domain book by one of the greatest copywriters in the world, and I had it out there. It was only available as an ebook, and somebody ordered it, and they got their automatic delivery of the ebook, and they sent me back a note 10 minutes later saying, "Oh, I thought this was being physically shipped." And it's like, "No, I'm sorry. It was only available as a PDF. How would you like to handle this?" They said, "I'd like my money back." I sent them back another note, and I said, "Fine." Gave them their money back. Turns out that person who bought the book was a reporter for the New York Times. And like 2 weeks later, I and my site get written up in a column on how to do customer service. What was I out? I don't know, $29 or $19 or something for this PDF that I didn't have to ship anything. It was all electronics. It was all electron. I was not out anything other than the $29, whatever it was. But the amount of business that came from that editorial was huge. Ultimately, it comes down to this key question: how do you want to be seen in the eyes of your customers? Do you want to be seen as stingy, as we have a policy and that's the only way it's going to go, we're going to do what's right for us, not for you? Or do you want to be seen as, hey, your partner in helping you achieve the transformation and the desires you have in your life? And every once in a while, in the process of doing that, we have to sacrifice a little bit so that you can get what we're in the business to provide you with. Now, there are several problems with customer service. It's a hard job. It's a darn hard job. We're sitting there all day, and you're probably going to get yelled at 3 or 4 times, and you become hardened. And it's like especially if there's lots of things going on, you can get really a hard skin in this process. Secondly, hey, there are people who take advantage of companies. And if they find out you've got a hole in your customer service system, they'll take advantage, and you become, hey, a victim of that. And another problem is that some people see customer service as a cost center. They want to have minimum wage people on there, maybe people in foreign countries, and they want to pay the absolute least amount that they can. Because remember, cost centers are where you cut costs out. Profit centers are where you invest to get more. I frankly strongly disagree. I believe it's a huge profit center. In fact, it's a core part of your marketing department. So what are the ways you make all this work? Now, I will be the first to admit, I'm giving you this from the perspective of a small business person. I've run marketing for departments at Kimberly-Clark and Conagra and SC Johnson, where we were shipping out tens and hundreds of millions of dollars of things. And many of the things I'm talking about are things that I insisted that the customer service department was doing, but I didn't actually manage that department. I wasn't reading the letters and the emails and those kinds of things that were coming in. But from a small company point of view, here are a few things that I think are very important. Number one, get good people into your customer service department and give them authority to be able to occasionally stretch the rules to do what's right for the customers. Set policies, but do give them some flexibility, because they should have the ability. In fact, my customer service people are always trained to ask the 3 questions. Number one, how would you like to be treated in this situation? Now, I realize that there are some times where someone says, okay, you gave them a 30-day period of time to try out your product, and after that, there's no refunds. You know, someone says, I was just too lazy and didn't get around to it. You know, that's a company policy thing. You know, you abide by the company policy. But if someone says, hey, I had a gift voucher that expired at midnight on such and such a night, your system made it so I couldn't use it, and sure enough, they say, oh, no, I'm sorry, it's expired, you can't use it. That's not an example of how would you like to be treated as a normal human being. You do what's fair, you do what's right, which is the second point. The question, what's right? What's fair in this situation? The third thing is, what would turn them into a raving fan? And going back to the story with the ebook that was sold, that they thought they were getting a physical book. Hey, all I had to do was press a button to refund that person's credit card, not even knowing he was a reporter, and I turned that person into a raving fan who created a whole bunch of other raving fans for me simply by making the right decision. That person didn't want an ebook. They wanted a printed book. They didn't read closely enough to see that it was an ebook. Hey, if he wants to gripe, I'll give him his money back. Doesn't hurt me at all. Fourth question. I promised you only 3. I'll give you 4. What's the best way to communicate? This is something that we in the internet marketing, especially the course world, tend to just ignore. So I'll give you the number one example of when this applies. I just ordered a course, paid you $2,000 for this course, and it's been 3 days and I have not gotten any email from you. I don't know my login. I don't know my password. And so I send you a message and you send me a message back saying, hey, we've sent you 9 emails. Well, I don't get the email you sent back to me. I didn't get any of the other emails. What makes you think that I'm getting... So if someone tells you they're not getting emails with your username and password in it, they're not getting emails. And so the best way to communicate to them is not to send them more emails. It's to pick up the phone and call them and say, I'm so sorry you're not getting the emails. Here's your username and password, and work with them to whitelist your email address right then so that it can work into the future. But this whole concept of, hey, we communicate via email. That's what we do. Well, you're probably in their spam folder. That's why they're complaining. Don't just keep sending them more emails telling them to check their email. Don't send them an email that they're not going to receive telling them to check their spam folder, because they're not going to even get the email to tell them to check their spam folder. Communicate with people the way they want to be communicated. The way I look at it is this. When someone buys a product from me, I now have a sacred stewardship to give them what they paid for. And if they're having technical problems getting that, then I have a sacred stewardship to help them solve that problem. If I really want customer service to express my values to the world, then I need to have good people with flexibility to have policies and the ability to break those policies when it's the right thing to do. So, customer service is where your true personal and core and company values are revealed to the world. And they're put on display for everyone to see. And realize at any point, you could be dealing with a reporter from the New York Times. You could be dealing with somebody who's got 6 million Twitter followers who all they have to do is say, man, just got horrible customer service from such and such a company. And all of a sudden you could lose some customers. Or who could write a single post that says, wow, this company has amazing customer service. I'm going to work with them for years. And look what just happened to you and your business. So think about it. How do you want to be seen by the world? How are you going to take your company values, your personal values, turn them into a set of policies and procedures and culture within a customer service department so that your personal and corporate values get passed on to the world? Realize you will occasionally get taken advantage of. I would rather get taken advantage of occasionally for a small amount than to be rigid and stupid in the way that I apply policies that just aren't the right thing to do. Let me know your experience with customer service. What are you doing to make sure you're doing great customer service to your people? And how are you implementing this as a culture within your organization? Is customer service for you a cost center or a profit center? And how could you turn it into more of a profit center? This is Don Crowther saying, just go do this stuff.